Have you ever wondered what the term Hinayana in Buddhism truly means, or why it's sometimes viewed negatively? Let's embark on a journey to unravel the mysteries surrounding this term. Hinayana, often referred to as Theravada Buddhism, represents one of the two major branches of Buddhism, the other being Mahayana. It's a term that's steeped in history, etymology, and religious significance. The word Hinayana itself hails from ancient Sanskrit, translating to lesser vehicle or inferior vehicle. Now, you might be wondering why such a term would be used to describe a significant branch of one of the world's most peaceful religions. The answer lies in the complex evolution of Buddhist thought and practice over centuries. While the term Hinayana is widely used in literature and academic circles, it's important to note that it's not favored by the practitioners of this tradition themselves. They see it as somewhat derogatory, a label that undermines the depth and richness of their beliefs. Instead, they prefer to refer to their tradition as Theravada Buddhism, a term that translates to the teaching of the elders. The term Hinayana does not denote inferiority in the teachings or practices of this branch of Buddhism. It's a historical term, a linguistic artifact that has been carried forward through the ages, sometimes loaded with misunderstandings and misinterpretations. In Theravada Buddhism, the focus is on personal spiritual growth through self-discipline and meditation. It's a path that encourages followers to seek individual enlightenment, a journey that is seen as deeply personal and introspective. Now, shift our focus to Theravada Buddhism, often synonymous with Hinayana, but with a different connotation. Theravada, a term that translates to the teaching of the elders, is a form of Buddhism that holds a significant place in the religious landscape of Southeast Asia. This branch of Buddhism is deeply rooted in the teachings handed down from the Buddha himself and the ancient elders who followed in his footsteps. The essence of Theravada Buddhism lies in its emphasis on individual spiritual growth and the pursuit of enlightenment or nirvana. The followers of this tradition strive to become arhats or enlightened beings who have attained liberation and are free from the cycle of birth and death. This journey towards enlightenment is often a solitary one, requiring a deep level of personal commitment and spiritual discipline. It's fascinating to see how Theravada Buddhism has flourished and evolved over centuries, especially in Southeast Asian countries such as Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, and Sri Lanka. These countries have embraced the teachings of the elders, built breathtaking temples and monuments, and nurtured a rich culture of mindfulness and meditation that resonates with the core principles of Theravada. A unique aspect of Theravada Buddhism is its focus on preserving the original teachings of the Buddha. This commitment to authenticity is evident in the Pali Canon, the oldest and most comprehensive collection of Buddhist scriptures, which serves as a fundamental source of teachings and guidance for Theravada practitioners. It's also worth noting that Theravada Buddhism is not just a religious belief, it's a way of life that encourages followers to lead a mindful and meaningful existence, guided by the principles of wisdom, morality, and concentration. The teachings of Theravada Buddhism are not just about achieving enlightenment, they are about living a life of compassion, peace, and understanding. Interestingly, Theravada practitioners themselves do not use the term Hinayana, so why the controversy? Let's uncover this. So, why is the term Hinayana considered derogatory by some? Well, to get to the heart of the matter, it's crucial to understand the nuances of language and how it shapes our interpretation of concepts. The term Hinayana is a Sanskrit word that translates to lesser vehicle or inferior vehicle, and this is where the controversy begins. Imagine being a follower of a tradition that is referred to as lesser or inferior. It's not hard to see why this might be seen as derogatory. The term implies a hierarchy, a ranking of value and importance, and no one wants their deeply held beliefs to be considered in any way lesser or inferior. Now, it's important to clarify that this term is not used by practitioners of this tradition themselves. They prefer to refer to their path as Theravada Buddhism, which translates to the teaching of the elders. This term holds a sense of reverence and respect, honoring the wisdom of the elders and the teachings passed down through generations. It's a term that reflects the values and principles at the core of this tradition. So why does the term Hinayana persist? Well, it's often used in academic and historical contexts as a way to differentiate between the various branches of Buddhism. However, the negative connotations attached to the term can overshadow its practical usage, leading to misunderstanding and potential offense. This controversy highlights a broader issue: the power of language and its role in shaping our understanding and interpretation of the world. It's a reminder that words carry weight, and we must be mindful of how we use them, especially when discussing something as personal and profound as someone's spiritual path. As we have seen, language and interpretation play a significant role in understanding religious traditions. Now that we've understood the nuances of Hinayana and Theravada Buddhism, let's summarize the key points. Hinayana, often referred to as Theravada Buddhism, is one of the two principal branches of Buddhism, the other being Mahayana. The name Hinayana translates to lesser vehicle or inferior vehicle, a term that is sometimes considered derogatory by followers of this tradition. It's crucial to remember that this label is not used by Theravada practitioners themselves. Instead, they prefer to refer to their tradition as Theravada, which means the teaching of the elders. This name reflects the tradition's emphasis on maintaining the original teachings and practices of the Buddha and the early monastic community. It is a path that encourages individual enlightenment with a focus on meditation, morality, and wisdom. The term Hinayana, though historically used, can be misleading and disrespectful. It was initially coined to differentiate the lesser vehicle from the Mahayana, the greater vehicle. However, the use of these terms can imply a hierarchy or a value judgment that doesn't truly represent the rich diversity and depth of Buddhist traditions. In our discussions about religious practices, it's essential to use respectful and accurate terminology. The term Theravada is more respectful and accurate when referring to this branch of Buddhism. It acknowledges the tradition's historical roots and respects its practitioners' self-identification. So, as we explore the world of Buddhism, let's remember to approach each tradition with an open mind. Let's appreciate the unique teachings and practices that each tradition offers, and let's respect the self-identifications and terminologies used by practitioners within these traditions. In conclusion, Theravada Buddhism, sometimes referred to as Hinayana, is a profound and essential tradition within Buddhism. It's a tradition that emphasizes the original teachings of the Buddha and encourages individual enlightenment. However, when discussing this tradition, it's important to use the term Theravada, which is more respectful and accurate. Remember, understanding and respect go hand in hand when exploring different religious practices. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. We've delved into the world of Hinayana, often referred to as Theravada Buddhism, and explored its profound teachings and philosophies. We've learned that this branch of Buddhism, while often dubbed the lesser vehicle, is anything but. Its practitioners prefer to call it Theravada, meaning the teaching of the elders, a name that carries with it a deep sense of respect and reverence for the wisdom of those who came before. We've unpacked the controversy surrounding the term Hinayana, a name sometimes viewed as derogatory but also recognized its historical context and usage. We've understood that the beauty of Buddhism lies in its diversity, its capacity for different interpretations, and its allowance for various paths to enlightenment. We've also explored key points of Hinayana Buddhism, the emphasis it places on individual spiritual growth, the importance of moral discipline, and the aspiration towards becoming an arhat or a perfected person. We've seen how it is a path of simplicity and self-reliance, a path that encourages us to look within for answers. This exploration, however, is just the tip of the iceberg. Buddhism, in all its forms, is a vast ocean of wisdom and understanding. It invites us to dive deep, to search, to question, to learn. It encourages us to strive for enlightenment, not just for ourselves, but for the benefit of all beings. So I invite you to continue this journey, to explore further into the teachings of Hinayana and Theravada Buddhism, and indeed all forms of Buddhism. Let's continue to learn, to grow, to evolve. Let's continue to tread the path of wisdom, compassion, and enlightenment. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey into the intricacies of Hinayana and Theravada Buddhism. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning. Subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share this video. The creator's dedication deserves recognition. Subscribing is a meaningful way to appreciate their hard work. Your suggestions shape our content. Share what kind of video on Buddhist teachings and daily life issues you'd like to see. In the gentle hands of Krishna Chandra Mohapatra, this video breathes life.